do you feel like your childhood molded you into the person you are today?
A lot of people think that I'm strong because of the things that I've been through and how, I seem to have overcame them, and I didn't turn to drugs and alcohol, and even with weed, it's medicinal, it's legal. So it's like, because people will always, I don't know how you do it, I don't know how, and it's like I'm strong by force, not by choice. Sometimes I want to just lay my head on somebody's lap and just cry. You know what I mean? Want to be nurtured. You know what I mean? And because I deal with a lot, and I'm dealing with it by myself, so it's just like it just be a hard pill to swallow sometimes, and it's just like I have to kind of go with the punches and deal with whatever comes my way because I don't have that outlet and that support for nobody to help me get through it. So me being strong, there's nothing I chose. It chose me.
Daysha, we are so happy to have you today. How you feeling?
Better than some, worse than others.
I hear that. I hear that. Well, thank you for agreeing to come on and share a glimpse of what you've been through for us.
I do what I can do when I can do it.
Now, first and foremost, did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, it's Daysha.
Daysha. Got it. Got it. Has it ever been mispronounced in the history of your life?
Always, always.
What
Yes.
have you got? What have you gotten?
Deshay, Dayshia, Deja. Uh, yeah, that's pretty much it. Mainly
That's
them
pretty
three.
much it. Okay,
hmm
but it's Daysha.
It's pronounced exactly how it's spelled.
D A Y
Daysha.
S H A. Got it. Got it. Got
Daysha, and they still mess it up.
it.
hmm
Did you have any nicknames growing up?
No, not really. I ain't really developed a nickname until social media.
Okay, got it. Which came after you were.
Day. I mean, for the most part, my family might call me they might say Dash, you know, Day, but it wasn't like on a consistent basis. Like now, more people call me Day more than anything. But I
Okay,
recommend it because I don't want them to pronounce it wrong.
right. You would rather them just say day than pronounce it wrong. I get
It's
it.
so much easier. You say Day every day. You don't even realize it.
Yo, I'll keep it real with you. There was a girl from my hood named Peachy. Her nickname is Peachy, and so my name is Khalid, but most people call me most. It's most commonly mispronounced Kali, but I get called Kaylee, Khalil,
And
Kylie,
you say it's Khalid.
Cali. It's Khalid. Yep.
Okay.
So with that being said, Peachy used to just call me Lee. And I love that. She'd be like, hey Lee, what's up? The same way people shorten yours and call you Day. You
But you know
can't
what?
mispronounce Lee.
It depends though, because sometimes people will just straight give you a freaking nickname, and you be like, "Who the hell is that?" Because I
Like
don't
I
like when
don't know
people
you
call
like
me
that.
D. I don't like
Right.
D.
You don't like D?
No, my sister used to call me D. I hated it.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah,
I
a
get it.
couple people called me D. My stepmom, a friend of mine. I hate it.
Right. I got you. I got you. So speaking of friends and family, where are you from?
Camden,
Camden, New Jersey. Okay.
New Jersey's
Are you?
finest.
Oh wow, you even got the tattoo. Okay.
hmm
Are you from a specific neighborhood in Camden?
Well, I'm from out East Camden.
Okay. Okay. So
Well, where you from is basically like where you was raised, right?
right, like where you feel like you spent the
Okay,
bulk of
East
your
Camden.
important
Yeah, East
years in
Camden.
East Camden.
hmm
Do you claim a specific? Now East Camden is huge. Are
Right.
you from a specific part of East Camden
32nd
or
and Fremont.
32nd and Fremont? Okay. How would you describe your neighborhood growing up?
Um, it was okay. It was, there was a lot of kids in my neighborhood, which was a good thing.
Okay.
Always somebody to play with, always something to do.
Okay. Okay. How would you describe Camden in general growing up?
I was kind of sheltered, so I really never got exposed to too much street life as a young kid because I couldn't really go off the block.
Okay.
So from what I understood, from a kid's view, it was okay, I guess.
Okay. Okay. We'll take that. Were you an only child?
No,
No. Okay. So how many siblings do you have or did you have growing up?
I have 2 on my mother's side. I'm the baby, and I have 3 on my father's side. I'm the oldest.
Okay. Wow. So what's that like growing up, being the youngest and the oldest? You got both
Um,
perspectives. That's interesting.
Honestly, in both cases, I feel like even though I was the baby on my mom's side, I always felt like the oldest. It just felt like I had way more responsibility than my older brother and sister.
Okay. And on your dad's side?
I really didn't have a relationship with them until I got older because I was around them until about 85, and then their mom moved them to Colorado, and that's when I was with my older sister and brother on my mom's side. So I didn't really get to see the Colorado kids again until maybe about 1996.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So you grew up with your mom's siblings.
yeah.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay. Okay. So you're the youngest and you feel like you're the oldest, however.
Hmm.
So you definitely had a I tell people all the time, you can grow up in the same house as somebody and have a completely different childhood.
Listen, you be
Right?
wondering like, was we all raised in the same house? What the hell?
Right. Do we have
Yeah.
different parents, right? Like in a lot of cases, parents may not want to admit it and say, "Oh, I treated all my kids the same," but the oldest gets one treatment, the middle child gets a
Well, see, you
treatment,
know
the
what?
youngest gets a treatment.
For us, it was favoritism, but it wasn't favoritism amongst me, my sister, and my brother. We was raised by my aunt and uncle, and they had a child, and their child was spoiled. So therefore, me, my sister, and brother got kind of the short end of the stick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that actually was the next question was did you grow up with both parents? Which is
No.
already no. Okay.
Yeah, I ain't grow up with neither.
With neither. Okay. Did you so let's start with this. Did you knew your parents? Like did you see your
Yeah,
mom
I
and your
knew.
dad?
I knew my dad. My mom was murdered 2 weeks after I turned 1.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
So that kind of made everything kind of go downhill.
Got it.
So
So
that's
you
why I
never
was
really met her.
nah.
Oh,
I
sorry to hear
didn't
that.
really get a
Who's
chance.
her name?
Patricia Holmes.
Patricia. Shout out to Miss
Yeah.
Patricia.
So it's like
Sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was saying sorry to hear that. My condolences.
Thank you. So it's like that's why I was saying like as far as the area because prior to my mom passing away, I was with my dad out AV, which is out East Camden, and then he
Right.
got incarcerated, and then my aunt and uncle got custody of. They already had my sister and brother, and then they got custody of me.
Okay.
So our fathers was around, but they were like in and out of jail.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. Well, at least your aunt and uncle got you versus you going to foster care.
No, we would
Nah.
have rather went to foster care
Okay.
because
So,
we already came from tragedy, with us
right.
losing our mom, and it wasn't. The situation was actually worse, more so than better, because again of the favoritism, and then my uncle was physically abusing me and my brother. So no.
So I was about to say that. Like, what was your relationship like with your aunt and your uncle?
Well, my aunt is my mother's sister. I call her mom because this is the only mom that I knew, being as though my mom passed when I was so young.
Okay.
Um, for the most part, I would say that I tried to have a good relationship with them on the strength that they didn't have to do it, taking me, my sister, and my brother in.
Right.
But it's just like, I don't like to force relationships with people. So it's like, my uncle passed away a couple years ago. Me and my aunt, we still good, but it's just a lot of issues from the past that still kind of bother me. But it's just like, it's water under the bridge now because what can I really do about it? I'm not going to make my aunt feel bad about it. My uncle ain't here no more.
Right. Okay. Okay. And so your relationship with your uncle, what would you or was it a relationship?
He was more like he was like a father figure, but he was the disciplinarian. And me personally, I just feel like, he had other children, and my dad was around. So I feel like me being a girl and him being a man, he shouldn't have been putting his hands on me.
Right.
But
Okay. Okay. I'll take that. So did you wind up becoming a parent yourself?
yes, I have a daughter.
Okay. So you know how you were raised by your guardians because you were there. What would you say are some similarities and differences? First of all, one beautiful blessing. That's a great thing. How old is she now?
24.
24. Okay. What would you say are some of the differences between air quotes your aunt and uncle's parenting, your parents' parenting style, and your parenting style?
Similarities, I would say, maybe I try to be. My aunt and uncle was kind of strict, but they were still up on everything. So I tried to be that parent as far as, with my daughter and being hands on with things. And so they don't sneak and slip off and, kids can stray. So,
Facts. Facts.
differences, I really don't agree with as far as the disciplinary actions. Not everything warrants a beating. Now, don't get it effed up. Am I allowed to curse?
Feel free.
Don't get it up. Some of these kids need, ain't nothing wrong with a little beating every now and then, but it's to a certain extent. You know what I'm
Parents
saying?
can
Because
go
sometimes,
overboard.
huh?
Parents can go overboard.
Definitely, definitely, And there's always the parents who got the bad kids that say, "Well, I'm gonna beat my kids." You need to. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So, and then there's the ones that the kids ain't really that bad and they getting towed up. But a lot of times we take, it might be a certain way we was raised where our parents might have beat us for every little thing. So now we picked up these same traits and we thinking that's the right way to go, and it's really not, because sometimes that creates issues and problems to where you have to address these issues when your kid become grown and they looking at you like they feel abused or felt neglected, or because they didn't agree with your parenting, and it comes back from how your parents raised you.
Right. Right. So you also mentioned that your dad was around. Like, so even though you lived with your aunt and uncle, you saw your dad what, sporadically, regularly?
I seen him, let me see, when he wasn't in jail. I would see him. When he would come home from jail, I was his first priority. He would always come and see. Like, my dad was around, he was active. My aunt and uncle never really stopped me from. They never stopped my dad from being in my life. They never stopped me from being able to see him and spend time with him as long as he wanted to. They didn't stop it, but they didn't force it either.
Okay.
So it's like, but they didn't really get along. They didn't like my dad. And as a kid, I knew this. I sensed it. So it's like, a lot of times that made my dad not really want to come around like that. You know what I mean? If you come in somewhere where they already got in their mind who you are, they
Right.
ain't really welcoming.
So the little bit of relationship you got to have with your father, what was that like? What's your dad's name, by the way?
My dad's name is Bruce
Bruce.
Lawson.
Oh,
He changed it as he got older. But see, my relationship with my dad is like a gift and a curse, because my dad is the only parent that I had. So I kind of had to deal with whatever came with him. And
okay.
my dad has some shit with him. Okay. So
Right.
it's like, although my dad was active in my life, he put me through a lot. Like, he kidnapped me. My dad was on drugs. So, people who are on drugs, they're not always in their right state of mind. All he knows is, that's my daughter, that's mine, I'm going to go get her. And, you know, sometimes you got to go about things the legal way and the right way. And this is why my parents felt the way they felt about him, because of the things that he would do.
Okay.
So it's just like, it just wasn't, I didn't have that safe space. I couldn't go to my dad and tell him about what was going on over here, because what can he really do? He can't remove me from the situation. He ain't in that position. So I kind of had to just deal with it, me and my brother, and we just would compare notes and talk about how much we was going to run away and, all that type of that kids say and do. I meant it
Right.
though.
So wait, he kidnapped you? Yo, first of all, can a parent kidnap their own child?
Yes, when you don't
I
have
guess
custody,
they
you
can.
can. Yeah,
Right,
when
right,
you're not
right,
the
right,
guardian.
right.
Yeah,
So
and
how
that's what he
old were
did.
you? Do you remember?
13.
You were
Yeah.
13?
Hmm?
You remember what happened? Do you care to go into it? You care to go into it?
Um, it was on April Fool's. So my aunt and uncle thought it was April Fool's joke, because the
Really?
woman that he was dealing with at the time had a daughter. So after school, my uncle was like, "Oh, your dad said come over there." Oh, okay. So I went over there, and the woman he was dealing with daughter was like, "Oh, we leaving tonight." We who? She like us. We leaving. We going to Virginia. I said, "Oh, I ain't going nowhere. My aunt and uncle ain't gonna let that happen." Oh, well, your dad said he already talked to them. Oh, okay. This is my dad. Why would he lie? So I'm like, Dad, rumor has it. So we supposed to be leaving tonight? And he like, oh yeah, I already talked to your aunt and uncle. You talked to Jimmy and Joycey. Everything is good.
Right.
I'm a kid. I was the type. We was raised to where kids. There's certain things you're not allowed to say to adults. So what I'm
Right.
supposed to call my aunt and uncle like, oh, did my dad say that? Nah, I got to stay in a child's place. So I had to just basically take his word for it. My dad was on parole though, so he wasn't supposed to leave the state. So we goes to Virginia Beach. We on a Greyhound bus. We ready to get kicked the off because he in the bathroom smoking weed. Okay. Then we get there, and him and my stepmom, they out every day looking for jobs. They leaving me and her in the room. I'm 13, she 11. We supposed to be in school. It's the Hardee's right next to the motel. So guess what we do? We six at the door. We go over to Hardee's in the playground. We over there begging. We hungry. We kids. So the people call DHS or DIFAS or whatever they got going on in that state because we supposed to be in school. We
Right.
get kicked out of the motel. So now my dad at the Greyhound station calls my grandma. I'm like, send us some more money. My dad, like, my grandma was telling him, like, listen, they press charges for kidnapping. You need to bring her back home. So he like, all right, well, wire me the money. She like, I'm not wiring you no money. I wire you for a bus ticket. She wires my dad for a bus ticket. This joker sells them.
Wow.
Instead of us going back home, we go further away. Now we in Virginia Beach, staying in an
Right.
effing shelter. I come from a two-parent household. Me, my sister, my brother, my cousin. Me and my sister share a room. To go from that to a shelter was, I ain't signed up for this. I ain't used to this. So it's
Culture
like,
shock.
it was a life-changing situation. It got messy. Helicopters, police surrounding the place. It got messy. It got real.
Really?
Because my dad has a very, very horrible record. So, once my aunt, see, it's so much more to it. Like my family they didn't really deal with my dad like that because they felt like my dad was responsible for my mom's death because he felt like he put her in harm's way. So it's like
Oh,
they would let me visit him and let me see him. And ironically, my sister and brother dad and my dad is brothers. My mom had kids by brothers. Their dad and my dad, total opposite. Their dad wasn't kicking up for them and doing all of what my dad was doing. At the time, I wasn't my dad's only child, but I was the only one up here. The rest of them was in Colorado, and he lost contact with the mom. So he's going all out. Oh, that's my daughter. She coming with me. So when it got to that point, helicopters, all that crap, and my aunt, they had to come and get me, show their custody papers. I'm back home. You know what I mean? My dad wound up getting locked up because he shouldn't have never left the state. He violated parole, a whole bunch of and then when he came home from that, he took me again to Colorado against my will. I didn't want to go, but my aunt and uncle signed over their parental rights at that point, and that was a disaster. He left me. He took me all the way to Colorado. We got down there after the blizzard of '96 in January, and that mother effer came back in goddamn March, and I still was up there until September. My dad was a piece of work. So
Interesting childhood just from those pieces.
and it'd be
What
so much more. Oh gosh.
how long were you in the shelter? Was that like a day or two? Was it a week?
No, because when he took me, it was April 1st. We was down there until I probably came home. I remember Easter was the next day that I came home, and I think Easter was in April that year, so it probably was like April 17th when I
Okay.
came back. So we was down there. What's that? Almost 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I was
2 3 weeks.
going. Yeah, we was in that motel maybe about 2 3 days. Then, not to mention, we had to camp out in the bus station because he didn't sell the tickets right away. People was calling the police. We was loitering. It was so embarrassing. Like, I'm just like, it was just horrible. So then when we finally got to Virginia Beach, we probably was in that shelter maybe about 2 weeks, a week and a half.
What was that experience like? Like
Horrible.
being
I
in the
mean,
shelter.
the people, the house mother at the shelter was cool, but I'm a kid. I'm 13, and originally when we first got there, we all was in the same room, like as a family. But then my dad and her getting into it, and they put him over there with the guys, and then she like, oh, I'm leaving. I'm looking at her like, what you better take me, bitch, you ain't leaving me here with him. Because my stepmom was like, she was over it and she was ready to just go. So we went to Virginia Beach one day, came back, and again, helicopters, police cars. And once my dad sold the tickets, I guess they kind of let my grandmom and them know where he was at because, he sold them at that same Greyhound station we was at. So yeah, they came and swarmed the place. And it was just horrible. Yeah.
So you saw
They
your
locked
dad.
up my stepmom and they took her daughter
Really?
away. Yeah, it was a mess.
Okay. So you saw your dad get like arrested.
Yes.
Did he resist? What was it like? Was it like event free or was it like fight?
No, because the thing about it is they was, they feed everybody at a certain time and we in there and the house mother came in like, oh, can you come here for a minute? Asked him to come here. So he like, don't eat without me. So we all just like, oh, okay. So now we sitting in there. It's about 6 o'clock. So now it's about 6:15. We starving at this point. So my stepmom like, let me go see what's taking him so long. They kept going out, disappearing. They was not coming back. So at this point, the house mother kept coming in like, can you come here for me? She just kept calling us out like one by one. So she called my dad first. Then she called my stepmom. Then she came back to get me like, Daysha, can you come here for a minute? I come out and the place is surrounded. And I'm just like, what the? Again, I'm a kid, so this is kind of shocking for me. And it's just like, he in handcuffs inside the office. Tell them that your mom is dead. Tell them that your mom is dead. I'm like, what the hell? And she was like, somebody pressed charges and said your dad kidnapped you. I'm like, kidnapped? So I just looked at him like, because remember, he told me he checked with them first.
Right.
So they was like, he's still screaming, tell him that your mom is dead. And I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? So they was like, what's your mom name? I'm like, Patricia Holmes. They said, well, who's Joyce Church? I was like, oh, that's my aunt. It was like, yeah, well, she pressed charges on your dad for kidnapping. And I'm just like, so at that point, they took my dad and put him in one car, put my stepmom in another car, put my stepsister in another car. We went in 4 different cars, 4 different directions. I cried probably for like, until my aunt and uncle came and got me. I'm talking one of the type of cry.
Right.
Because again, they taking me away from I'm down here with these people. Right. I don't know where these people were going. I'm far from home. I was trying to like, while the detective was driving, I was looking at the route like, I'm going to run away wherever he's taking me. And no, he took me all the way to like Suffolk, Virginia. I was like over an hour or 2 away from where we originally was. Oh, wow. It was just so depressing. But
you had no idea where you were.
No, my aunt and uncle came and got me the next day. They was not playing about me, huh?
Right. So that's something to say. Like, at the very least, we could say that your aunt and uncle cared about you, or your aunt at the very least.
You want me to be honest?
Well, that's what I'm trying to get into. Because earlier you said that your uncle abused your brother and you, but when you were stuck and stranded in Virginia, he came to get you. It's weird, right?
He didn't have no choice. They my guardian. Right. See, this is the thing. This is how I look at it. I feel, me personally, me and my brother, we have these conversations often. And, because he's really bitter and he goes to the extent of saying that he hates them. I would never go to that extent because they didn't have to do it. But I kind of feel like, because, when you have custody of your kids, you get a check.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Because, it could have been about the bread because my mom worked. So we all get, Social Security checks. But we, per se, ain't getting them. It's for the people that's taking care of us.
Right.
So that was
just like child support, right? The mom gets the child support.
But you can't, but you using the money that you getting for us to spoil your son, though.
Right. Got it.
So, and their son and my sister was the same age.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So as kids, did you know that they were getting a check for you, or did you find out?
No, I found out one day I came home and you know how as a kid you see mail in the mailbox, you grab the mail. So I see these 3 envelopes and I know what a Social Security envelope look like. I see these 3 envelopes, but what caught my eyes because I seen my name. It like pasted the order of, and I'm just like, what the hell is this? So, you can open up the little envelope. I'm peeking in there. I'm like, oh yeah. Then I see 3 of them, my name, my sister name, my brother name. And then when we went to Colorado, my dad was like, you get a SSI check every month for your mom from your mom. And I'm like, I kind of think I seen that before. And he like, yeah, they can't be getting it if you down here. So that, to me, I feel like that was the reason why I could not come back home, because my dad, once we got to Colorado, set everything up to where my checks was coming down there, and my aunt and uncle had to pay some of that money back. So when it was time to come back home, I didn't have a home to come back to.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that right there led me to believe they was doing it for the money. Because if we family, you telling me, oh, just go down there like it's a vacation, you can always come back home.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Where in Colorado was it?
Denver.
Oh, it was
Denver.
literally Denver. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I hated it so bad with a passion.
Right. So you got to see the world outside of Camden, and you didn't like Denver at all.
First
What
of
did you
all,
like about
it was a 2-day bus ride.
Okay.
Let's talk about that. This is why I hate traveling right now. 2 days
Okay.
on a Greyhound with my dad, and me and him did not talk for the whole 2 days because I didn't want to go. He took me against my will. It was so bad to where my school got in contact with the Board of Education and the police because my dad kidnapped me before. So they thinking like, this man has a horrible record. He already kidnapped her. Then y'all letting him take her all the way to Colorado. What if he do something to her? What if he kill her? So the school was trying to dispute it. It was a real big issue. But
Right.
my aunt signed over her rights. So it was really nothing the school could do. Board of Education, nobody couldn't do anything. So, I felt some type of way. I did. Because originally when my dad kept asking me, I wouldn't respond. I would answer every question except that one. Because I didn't want to hurt his feelings. Because in all actuality, no, I didn't want to go because my dad, I'm older now. My dad put me through a lot of that's too far. You don't know them people. I don't know them people. No. So it was to a point where he was like, I kept asking you, you wasn't answering, so now I'm gonna answer for you. You going? And I was just like, please, my aunt and uncle ain't gonna let that happen. They let it happen.
Got it. So it's not necessarily Colorado that you hated; it was the situation.
Yeah, because my stepmom has 10 kids. 10.
Okay.
10. I made 11. She had a rancher. Some of the kids had kids. It was just too much going on. I wasn't used to these environments that I kept getting put in due to my dad. Because I came from.
So what did Colorado look like? Did it look different than where you were from? Did it look the same?
Colorado is very country. I just recently found out, my brother told me Colorado is predominantly white. It's only 8% of black people there. And I'm like, what? Because when I was down there, that's all I seen.
Right.
But they must all be in the same area. But
and it's a huge state. Like it's like
listen, and it had Crips and Bloods. While I was down there, two guys that I became cool with. One got killed, the other one got shot. My brother, stepbrother got killed a month after I left. It was a lot going on down there. I did not expect that. My dad was stealing my brother's drugs, and it was horrible.
Okay.
Horrible.
Okay. Interesting.
My stepmom had 6 girls, 4 boys. I made 7 girls. Can you imagine a house full of 7 and her makes 8, and then my brother, baby mom, and honey.
Right.
It was horrible.
Got it. I bet you don't, with all that drama, I bet you don't remember all the schools you went to growing up.
I do.
You do? All right, let's go. Kindergarten, go.
Kindergarten, I went to McGraw.
McGraw
Elementary out East Camden. Yes.
Okay.
Middle school, I went to East Camden Middle. And
so you went to McGraw K through kindergarten,
pre-K to 5th grade. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, so let's stop for a second. What was your elementary school experience like? Like, did you have fun? What type of student were you? And what was your life like as overall?
Kindergarten and 1st grade, I had the same teacher, Miss Butler and Miss Carter. So kindergarten and 1st grade was cool. 2nd grade, I didn't really care for my 2nd grade teacher. 3rd grade, my 3rd grade teacher was 4th grade. 5th grade was my favorite teacher ever, Miss Holiday. And she got Holiday Dance right here on Westfield. I don't know. Her kids is the dance teachers now, but Miss Holiday was because she was one of them teachers who was like your second parent. She literally showed love. She had kids of her own. So she kind of like, she took us personal because we her kids for the school year. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I
Teachers
actually
need to
did.
say it like you guys spend more time with me than your actual parents, which was true.
Exactly. Like she threw pizza parties and Panzerotti parties, and we had Christmas parties. She brought everybody in the class. What I really liked about her the most, like, she was a different type of teacher. Like the way how she had everything set up. She had our desks were in groups of 4, and we was all named after basketball teams. I was in the Sixers, the Pistons, and the Trailblazers. She had to keep moving me. Yeah, I had to keep getting moved. But I did like her concept, and because we were in groups, so it's easier to help kids when they come over to the group, and then we would have a little challenge, and she'd be like, Pistons, Sixers, Trailblazers, you know what I mean, Nuggets. Hey, you know what I'm saying? So I actually did like my 6th grade teacher. I went to East Camden Middle and Virginia Beach Junior High when my dad kidnapped me, but
Okay.
my 6th grade teacher was okay too.
Okay. What was it? Was there? So first of all, you graduated from McGraw.
Yes, I graduated 5th grade. Yeah.
Do you remember who all came to your graduation? Was it like just your immediate household, or like can you remember like your
Household, please. It probably was let me see, 5th grade. Probably was my aunt. She probably took off of work.
Okay.
People don't take 5th grade and middle school. They don't take that type of serious.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
So was it an easy transition to you from McGraw Elementary to East Camden Middle?
Because once you finish at that school, they just send everything over to the other school, and once first day of school, you and your assigned class and everything goes smoothly. But see, it didn't go smoothly when I left East Camden Middle to transition over to Wilson because of my dad kidnapping me. He kind of my records up to where everything got shipped to Colorado, and then when I came, not Colorado, Virginia,
Right.
and I don't know how he got me in school. I don't know how he did that because actually he didn't have. Remember, he kidnapped me, so I don't know how he did it, but he did it. You know what I mean? But he had me in school. But when I came back, everything was all jacked up to where when they had 8th grade in Wilson. So for my 8th grade year, everybody
So
who was in
Wilson is the high school, by the way, in
yeah.
East Camden. Got it. Okay.
So once whoever was in your class in 7th grade, once y'all transitioned over to Wilson, your 7th grade class, that's the same class you're gonna be in the 8th grade. But because of the kidnapping situation and the records getting messed up, my aunt had to put me back in school. So now I'm not with my old class no more. And this is how, I got a chance to meet different people.
Got it.
You know what I mean? Versus the people, and then I would see them in the hallway and they like, what you doing over there? You better get over here with us. And I was upset at first because I got used to these people in my class. Now they got me in, and I'm just not the type that adjust well to new people, new surroundings, new things. I don't adapt well to that. I am one of them where I'm like, I like to stay in a safe space.
Most people don't like change, period.
I don't because I just
change is tough for most people.
You know what it is about change? Change is good, but it's like if it don't work out, sometimes you can't go back to that familiar space.
Right. You can't revert.
You can't.
Right.
Back to your comfort zone.
Is there anything positive about your Virginia Beach experience at all? Like when you went to school there, like do you have any friends that you still know to this day, or did you make any friends?
From 13, when I was 13 years old? Hell, I hated that school. Let me just say this. I hate school. I just don't like school.
You don't like school, period. So especially
I don't like
down there. Got it.
I definitely do not like school.
Got it.
It was just it was a horrible situation because I didn't know anybody.
Okay.
Sitting by yourself and everybody friendly where they, oh, you new, come hang with us. Like, nah, everybody ain't welcoming like that.
True. And school is very cliquey. No. So I've interviewed people who love school. I've interviewed people who hated school. You don't just hate school. There's things about school you hate about. You hate about it, like specifically. Even with people who love school, it's things that you love specifically. What about school do you specifically hate? Like, what did you hate the most?
The people. Kids are mean. Kids always been mean and still are. And I got bullied, I got teased, I got picked on. I hated home and I hated school. I just did not have that outlet where I can go somewhere and feel safe.
Kids are extremely mean, especially in middle school.
They really are.
Got it. Got it. Got it. So you never really graduated from East Camden Middle then.
Yeah, we had our 8th grade graduation at Wilson.
It happened at Wilson. Okay.
Yeah, in the
Okay.
gym. Yep. Which
So
didn't make sense because we was leaving Wilson to come to Wilson.
come to Wilson. Right, right, right,
Yeah.
right, right, right. So do you do all 4 years of high school at Woodrow Wilson?
I did 3 years, my 11th year, and that's when my dad took me to Colorado and up. He that up too.
All
So
right.
when I came back, I didn't have no records no more.
So before we skip to 12th grade, your first 3 years of, well, technically 4 years of high school in that building, like what was it like? What was high school like for you?
It was a different experience because it gave us a little more freedom. You know, when you're in elementary and middle school, you have closed lunches, you sit with the same class all day long. But when you get to high school, you kind of get that freedom. Even though I had this, like a lot of the people that was in my class was in a lot of my classes all day, but I still got a chance to interact with my old class and meet different people and new people and all that type of and I just like the freedom. But we only had that freedom that 1 year because after that they shut closed lunches down. So 8th grade was like the best year ever.
Okay, got it, got it, got it. Was there anything that you were exposed to in high school that interested you? Like, yo, I think I might want to do this.
Um,
Any subjects at all? Any, like, did you get exposed to anything in high school that you felt like prepared you for what was to come when you get out here in these streets for real?
no, I just hated
Nah.
school that much.
Did you work in high school? Did you have your first job in high school?
I did 1 year in I want to say I was in the 10th grade. They had me doing like warehouse work out Pennsauken. I was there for 4 days and got fired. Yeah.
So wait, so what was it and what happened? What
It
was the
it
job?
was a warehouse. I'm a
Okay,
kid again. Like so I'm on the phone on a time I ain't supposed to be on a break over. I'm hiding in the corner on the phone booth because I like some boy and
right.
I lost my job over a boy trying to be a hot ass. You know what I'm saying? Talking to his ass
Okay.
on the phone and but yeah. So I got fired. My
Got
uncle
it,
was
got it,
mad, but it's like I'm a kid. It's summertime. I don't want to work.
got it, got it. So you're in 11th grade.
Hmm.
You're getting through this. You hate school, but you're smart enough to get promoted from grade to grade,
Oh,
right?
I ain't dumb. Yeah, I mean, I hate school, but I did the work. You know what I'm saying? I passed and
Right.
got promoted, and people copied off my. I might have copied off some of my. I did the work. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, as it got further into high school, 10th, 11th grade, I was doing the work, but I wasn't going to class. But the work was getting turned in
Okay, got it, got it. Was there
because I
something
had
that
the freedom.
exactly? Was there something that you wanted to be like growing up?
I did when I was younger. I wanted to be an actress. I did.
Really?
Hmm.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so I
Did you?
found out you actually got to audition, and I was just like, what? Well, all the people in line. Oh no, I'm cool. I don't want to do that no more. I just thought, I want to be in this movie, and they just like, all right, well, come on. I was a kid. I know. I
Right,
seen
right,
Rudy on the
right,
Cosby Show. She was a little. I'm like, oh, I'm her age. I could do that. Mm-mm,
right.
I couldn't do it.
Did you have a favorite actress?
When I was younger,
Yeah.
like all the kid actresses that was around my age, I looked up to because they kid actors, they on TV, and
Right.
like, yeah.
Rudy on Cosby Show.
I love the Cosby Show. All of them. I
Ashley,
liked all of them. Theo,
Ashley
Vanessa,
on the
Rudy,
Fresh
all of them.
Prince. Right, right, right,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
And I was on punishment a lot, so I watched TV a lot.
Right. Oh, well, at least your household, when you were on punishment, you got to watch TV. When I was on
No,
punishment,
I
you would
didn't.
put TV
No, no,
in
no,
my
no, no,
room.
no, no. When I get put on punishment to where don't take your ass outside, then I get to watch TV. But take your ass in your room. Ain't no TV in my room. And my
Right.
room was in the attic, baby. So you know how attics get in the summertime.
It get extremely hot.
It gets hell on earth.
Right.
Okay.
Thanks. All right. So you make it, you get all the way through 11th grade, about to be a senior. Correction, you are a senior. You
No,
got ready to go
no.
into senior year.
I'm 11th grade, and then in January I get shipped to Colorado, and I
11th
come back in September. And that next year I would have been going to the 12th grade, but
right.
my my records got lost somehow, some way, some crazy. So when I came back to Wilson, I was trespassed.
Really? All right, so let's stop for a second. Did you go to school in Colorado?
I did. I went to what was it called? Montbello High. Montbello High. The area that we lived in was called Montbello.
Did you make any friends in Colorado or same
I
pattern?
did, but you know what? It was just God. When I first got down there, every freaking body was literally coming up to me. Oh, you from Jersey? What's it like in Jersey? What's it like in New York? Oh, you got an accent. Everybody was like swarming around me like they never met nobody out of town before.
And they might
And
not
it was
have.
just annoying. Every day. They was coming over to the house like I was on display. People now started hanging at the house because I was there. But see, that happening it created animosity with my sisters because none of the guys was coming over to the house, and now as a new face, everybody's coming over. So now it makes my sisters feel some type of way. They try to get the girls up the street to jump me.
Isn't that crazy how that works in the kids' minds, right? You can't even enjoy your celebrity.
Listen, honey, I could not catch a break in Jersey, Colorado, Virginia.
Right. Your own sisters try to get you aired out by some girls from
because they didn't want to fight me because I got into a fight with a girl around the corner and
they saw it and they seen what it was.
Okay, so they said, "Oh, nah, we gonna have to get two to jump her." So and my stepmom, she wasn't really on my side. She's on her daughter's side, and that's fine. But it's like once my dad left me, everything just. And then this joker had the audacity when I came back, because remember I was still getting my SSI check. So when I came back from Colorado, when my dad seen me, he had the audacity to say when he saw me, "About time you brought your ass back."
So wait, time out. Your dad forced you to go to Colorado
to leave me,
and he left. Now you might have said this already, but let's start over real quick. Refresh the memory. So how long were you in Colorado before he leaves?
We went down there in January for the blizzard of '96, like right after that.
Right.
It just wasn't working out. And that's what I was trying to explain to my dad when he wanted to go down there. I was telling him, like, we don't know these people. Because he like, oh, I need you to go down there, be a big sister. I said, this motherfuckers ain't going to listen to me. They don't know me. So I was like, listen, I don't want to do all of that. Let me just get to know these people. Let them get to know us. Like, you want to come in the door making demands. Oh, this your older sister. You better from your dad. You can't do that. When we got down there, the kids, like I said, I remembered them from 1985, 84, 83, prior to my mom passing away, but it wasn't this many of them. It was 6 of us, and me made 7, and now she had 4 more. So I'm just like, what the fuck? It was just a lot of kids. It was a lot of kids. It was just a lot going on. So it just wasn't working out. The kids wasn't listening to my dad. My dad's stealing my brother drugs, and my brother is trying to have sex with me because he feels like we not really related. Like he busting in rooms, peeking through windows. I'm telling his mom, he denying it. It was just horrible. I hated it down there, and it's just like I just couldn't catch a break. And nowhere I went. So it's just like I dealt with that. Then when my dad left, actually the police put him on a bus and made him leave. And they wouldn't let him take me because of his record. And he was drunk.
So he violated parole again, basically.
No, he wasn't on parole at this point, but a situation happened and the police was called.
Okay.
I don't mean to laugh. My dad is just a menace to society. A situation happened and the police called. That's what I was trying to, like my stepmom was, they just wasn't getting along and she still was trying to move along and do her. But you got this man, meaning my dad, in the house and she still, oh, well, you got to get out the room. I'm about to have company. My dad like, you got me fucked up. So he started wilding out.
Right.
Cops got called. Me and him got into it and he hit me. And my sisters called the cops. They locked that ass up. And the cops was like, yeah, nah, they told him, they paid for his ticket, told him he was no longer allowed in the state of Colorado. And they put him on the bus and they wouldn't let him take me. Yeah.
So you're stuck in Colorado with basically
strangers.
People
strangers.
Right. You don't even know.
They were strangers.
Wow.
And that's when everything went downhill after that.
You were literally Cinderella.
with 80,000 kids. And the
Right.
police was over there every other day. Again, this was things I was not used to. You know, I came from a structured background, a 2-parent household. My aunt worked, you know, breakfast, lunch, dinner type.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'll be trying to explain to my brother. It wasn't the best, but at the same time, we weren't latchkey kids. Our parents was there. My uncle, when we got out of school, my uncle was there. My aunt, she didn't get off until 5:30. You know, we came home to food and we got Christmas gifts, we got Easter gifts. Granted, the beatings, yeah, but it's like at the same time, we didn't get beatings for no reason. My brother was bad and I followed behind him.
Right.
But it's just the extent of the beatings. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
Right.
you
You
know.
think you got beat harder because you weren't the actual child?
Yeah, because my uncle has 9 children and only one by my aunt, and he has a daughter that he never really dealt with. So my whole thing is, why are you putting your hands on me?
Right.
Again, let my aunt let her do the discipline. We are her kin by blood. You are our kin by marriage, and you're a man. Let my aunt do it.
Right.
So extension cords, tree branches from off of rose bushes. He used to hit my brother with trophies. It was just a lot. And sometimes I didn't mind getting the beatings with my brother because if he got to beat 2 of us, he might be a little tired, so he might not go. You know what I mean?
Right.
That was just my theory, you know. So
how do you get back to Jersey from Colorado? Like, why'd you even go back to Jersey?
why? Because that's where I'm from. Colorado is not where I was from. That country ass accent, them country ass people, that country ass. That's not. I'm a city girl. Wasn't nothing city about Colorado.
Well, I guess let me re-ask the question. Why did it take 9 months to get back to Jersey?
Because I was getting a SSI check every month, like I told you in reference to, you know, from my mom. And every month when I would get my check, my stepmom would ask me to borrow money
if you don't
and
mind
never
me asking,
pay it back.
And this might be, if you don't mind me asking, how much is it? How much did you get? Like, did you and your brother get the same amount?
I think all of us was getting the same amount. I think like when I peeked at the envelope, it was like 138. And that ain't, but back then, $138 was a lot.
To a
We talking the
teenager?
90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Right.
So, you know, she would borrow at least 100 or 120 from me. So now I don't have, but then soon as she borrowed the money from me, then it would be, oh, I can't wait until you leave. I can't wait until if you stop borrowing from me, then I can. So it just got to the point where it was that bad. I'm beefing with my sisters. They trying to have me beef with the girls up the street. And it was just my brother just trying to fight him off of me. He gave me a black eye. It was too much going on. And I was like, that. When I get my check next month, I'm out. So I left the day after Labor Day in September. On a bus for 2 days. At this point, my birthday had passed, so I turned 17 down there. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going back. You know, so when I, called to let them know I was coming back home, actually my girlfriend called me and she was like, call home and tell them you coming back. I'm like, why? And she was like, because your sister just came over here and she was like, they said you couldn't come back. So I called home like, I'm coming back. My aunt like, oh, you ain't coming back here. Hurt my little feeling. But then my grandmom on my dad's side, she kicked up. She like, that you can come over here with me. And then again, that was just.
So it was you by yourself without your sister? It was just you?
Well, my sister and brother was grown. I'm 5 years younger than them. Yeah, and I'm 17 at the time. So my sister in her 20s and my brother in his 20s.
Okay. So they moved out.
They've been.
Right.
My sister probably moved out after she had my nephew. My brother, they kicked him out. But, they wasn't there no more.
So you didn't consider staying with one of them?
My brother was in jail. And my sister, she was still living with them when I came back home. That's right. She was still living with them. She was still there. I couldn't live with her because she was there.
Got it. So you stay with your grandma. Shout out to your grandma. What was her name?
Irene. They called her Reenie. Yeah.
Hey, Miss Reenie. Okay. What was your relationship like with her when you got for the time that you were there?
Now you see how you have a mom's side and a dad's side.
Correct.
My mom's mom and my dad's mom, total opposite.
Okay.
My mom's mom is like she was the matriarch of the family. We all gathered up at her house. She could bring everybody together and My dad's mom, she gambled. She went down to Atlantic City. She sat and gossiped. She watched Price is Right all day and did.
Right.
Two different types of people. So living there with her, she had custody of my one aunt who died. She had custody of her three sons. One of the sons was the oldest. He was gone. He moved out. So she had them two. Then she had another daughter who had at the time 5 kids. She had custody of her 5 kids on top of them other 2. So now this is 7.
Right.
Plus me makes 8. My dad, his girlfriend, my uncle, his girlfriend, my grandma had a boyfriend. We are in the acres in a 3-bedroom apartment.
So it was a situation similar to Colorado.
I was never there though, because see, this is the thing. The good thing about it, my aunt and uncle kept me they was strict. I couldn't go off the block. So when I came back from Colorado, my grandma, this was her only rule. Listen, you can do what you want. You ain't got a curfew, but if you are somewhere and it's too late, stay where you at. What? I ain't gotta say no more. So I was never really there. And then I was still getting the SSI check, so I wasn't really eating there. So I wasn't there like that. So my grandma didn't really have to worry about me. You know what I mean? But then when I got pregnant with my daughter, she kicked me out. So
you weren't at your grandma's. Where were you?
I had friends. Okay. I would be at my friend's house. I still would go back over to my aunt and uncle house because even though my grandma lived in East Camden in the acres, that wasn't the area I was from. I was from the other side of the park. So I would get up, get dressed, and go back to my old neighborhood.
So just closing on the school part. So you never graduated basically from Woodrow Wilson?
No, I ain't get a chance.
From high school, period?
No.
But not for lack of not wanting to be there, just because your records got messed up.
Yeah, and I don't even understand how that happened, but they just literally got lost in the system, and I don't know. So when I went back, they just like, oh, you're not in the system no more, and this, that, and the third. So I still was going to school every day, like as if I was in school, but I literally was trespassing because I had friends there. So, and I'm terrible. Like now that I think about it, I'm really horrible because I wasn't registered in school, but I was going up there making my girlfriend cut class so she could hang with me. And we walk in the halls, we cutting in empty classrooms. Like I'm stopping her from graduating, promoting, getting an education because I'm not, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like but she wasn't going to class anyway. So I really, she wasn't going anyway.
Who was your girlfriend's name? Give her a shout out.
Tiffany Henderson. You know what I'm saying?
That was wild.
That was my girl. Listen, when they took me to Colorado, me and Tiffany was like Silly and Eddie. We crying, they pull us apart from each other, and trying to pull her back into school and pulling my dad just standing there looking. I was so mad. I did not want to go. I was talking about, oh, listen, my girlfriend gave me a couple of hours. She like, listen, when your dad ain't looking, just jump on another Greyhound. I had a whole plan, okay? A whole plan.
Did you have a what am I going to do when I grow up moment? Or did an adult have that conversation with you at some point?
You know what's crazy? When I was younger and me and my friends, when we would talk about, oh, I can't wait till I'm this age. I can't wait till I'm that age. Oh, I want this many kids. And our brains never went past age 21. Right. Like I never imagined me being this age. I didn't. It never crossed my mind.
Okay. So the government says that when a person turns 18, they're an adult, right? The state says that. Well, the United States says that. You turn 18, you're an adult. But you and I know that that's not really true. We still, for the most part, you kids. So I interview some people to say, like, Khalid, my childhood ended when I was 14. But for some people, I just interviewed a guy who said, honestly, my childhood ended when I got my master's when I was 27, right? But that's a guy, and guys mature way slower than women do in most cases. At what point? So do you feel like, at what point do you feel like your childhood ended? Was it 18? Was it?
You know what? Honestly, I'm still a kid at heart because I never really had. That's why I could kind of relate to Michael Jackson. He didn't have a childhood. That's why when he became grown, he just was into big kid. I'm the same way. Like whenever it comes to having fun and my cousins come around, I'm the hide and seek and I'm the let's play tag and board games. I'm one of them, because that's
Got it.
kind of like my upbringing and where I came from. What me, my sister, brother, it was four of us. So anytime it was a board game, it always come with four play settings.
Right.
My favorite color green, my sister favorite color yellow, my brother favorite color red, my cousins is blue. So it just worked out.
Right.
So it's like I still have that big kid in me. It's just that when I got pregnant with my daughter, I had to kind of kick up into mommy mode. But the kid in me never really is still there.
Okay.
It's still
What,
there.
what was your favorite board game growing up? Did you have one?
Sorry.
Sorry.
Mhm.
Sorry. I want to challenge you and sorry. We're gonna get a chance
No,
to
let me
play.
tell you what our favorite game is, and I have some in here. Some Jacks.
Oh, really?
We what? Me, my sister, my brother. What? We sit Jacks, nails and all. Jacks. Okay. I will.
so, so you said when you got pregnant with your daughter, how old were you?
I was 18.
Okay. Okay. So you made it to 18. Some
Hmm.
girls didn't make it to 18, man.
I know.
You could have got pregnant in Colorado
No, I
against
couldn't have.
your against
Not
your
with the men
will.
that was down there. No, I couldn't have.
I hear that.
I wasn't even
But
having sex in Colorado like that. You know what I mean? So that wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? The men were they had Jerry curls. Um, I was
first of
doing
all, they
greasy
were
ass,
men.
greasy locks and ponytails and like is that one my type? Mm-mm.
It wasn't your flavor. Got it.
No.
Got it. For most women, when you have a child young, it grows you up. Some it doesn't. For most, it does. Do you feel like your daughter grew you up?
I kind of feel like it forced me into adulthood because I went from being sheltered and caged in, and then like a wild animal that was cut loose because I had more leverage and leniency at my grandma's house. But then it ain't last long. It lasted for a year, and then I got pregnant. And
Right.
then once my grandma kicked me out, that reality kicked in, and I had to literally get on my because now I'm pregnant. I'm having a baby. So I got to get a job. SSI stopped once I turned 18 because I
Right.
wasn't in school no more. So I wound up getting a job at WaWa. That was my first job. WaWa got me my first apartment. So I was
Really?
living in Philly when I was pregnant with my daughter, but then I moved back over here because people I was living with, the dude killed some dude in front of the house while we was in the window. So I was like, yeah, no, I'm going back to Camden. It's better the devil you know than the devil you don't.
Right.
So I came back over here and I was living out Stockton Station, which
Okay.
changed to Pleasant Gardens, and I was there
In
for
East
4 years.
Camden.
Yeah, it's still in
Okay.
East Camden. Yeah.
Right. 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 Funny story. You said Wawa was your first job. I used to deal with a woman from Detroit, and she
Hmm.
flew in to see me one time in New Jersey.
Hmm.
And when I picked her up from the airport, I said, before we go home, I gotta run to Wawa. And to
She
which
didn't know
she
what it was.
replied, she was like, "What's Wawa?" And I kind of did. I've never been asked that before, so I didn't know how to explain
I
it. But
get asked that a lot.
I thought it was nationwide, but it's
No, it's
not.
not. Listen,
It's
my cousin
not.
lives in Georgia, and he said the closest Wawa is in Florida. I said, what? Yeah, they don't have
Right.
them, but I heard that it was, rumors that they're going to put some down there. But even my
Yes.
siblings, when they come up here to Colorado, from Colorado to visit, well, once I tell them about Wawa, they don't have it. So they just get in there like, oh, they just go crazy like, oh God,
Right.
hoagies and quesadillas and this and that. I be like, what do y'all got down there similar to Wawa? See, when I was down there, they had Crown Market. Crown
Okay.
Market was like a pantry. It wasn't
Right.
like a Wawa because they didn't make hoagies, they didn't make hot food. They just had chips, but the chips wasn't corner store 50 cent, no $1.49. Big. It wasn't a
Right.
corner store. They don't really have corner stores down there. They have convenience stores.
Right.
So
But even like growing up for us, Wawa was kind of like the competitor to like 7-Eleven or like a
yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts. But
Hmm.
over the last, let's say, 10 years, Wawa blew up. Now it's like the
Yeah.
gas station and it's
Wawa got everything, man. Them and Royal
right.
Farms, them two be competing a little bit, but Wawa's still better.
On a scale of 1 to 10, this is my favorite question to ask people. With 1 being the worst ever and 10 being the best possible, how would you personally rate your childhood?
One.
1. What will it take to what would have to have been different for you to say, I don't know, 2 or 3 or 4?
If my mom didn't die.
Got it. Got it. And again, condolences, because like, yeah, that's tough on a girl growing up.
It just, the thing about it was um the fact that you only get two parents. And this is what I try to teach my daughter a lot. And not saying I rather had my mom than my dad, because that would be mean, but it's just like I never really got a chance. And so when it came to me raising my daughter, my aunt and uncle, I didn't want to raise my daughter the way they raised us. So it's like I didn't have no help. I didn't have no support. You kind of learn as you go. And sometimes when you're a young parent, you know, y'all are kind of being raised together
Right.
because you're still
Exactly.
learning. There's no handbook. You got to just basically figure out what is what and roll with the punches. And, it's times where my daughter would cry, I'll cry with her.
I'm
I
a,
didn't have that mom, that grandma. My daughter never really had grandparents.
and you really kind of didn't get to experience your early 20s. Like I was in college during my early 20s. I graduated when I was 25. And I've had people say, yo, that's kind of when your childhood ended. You were still a kid during those college years.
You
Where
know
during that
what?
same time period, you were an adult out here really like being a mom and being a real adult. You
And
missed
it's a
that.
shame because it's like my friends will go on trips and
Right,
I had
right.
a kid. You know what I mean?
You
And
got
not
a
to
job.
mention, my friends were still living at home. Like I was one of the first ones with my first apartment because you got to be 21 to rent an apartment, and I was
Right,
18. So it's
right.
like that was kind of a big deal back then because again, everybody was still living at home. They didn't have kids, so my girlfriends could come and go as they please. They could take these trips. They could do this. I gotta go to work.
Right.
I was working for a
Exactly.
lawyer, so I had to go to work.
Right. Right.
So it's just like, I never really got a chance to really enjoy not even childhood because I still, again, I'm a big kid. I never really got a chance to enjoy adulthood. I went straight from childhood to parenthood.
Right.
So it's just like,
When we talked before and I asked you, so the next question I asked is like we ask negative first, then we ask positive. If you had Do you have a worst childhood date or time period that you like to forever forget? You responded all of them. Like just throw the whole thing away.
mhm.
And you said that there was a lot of generational trauma that you experienced. Is that still true now that you have some time to think about it?
Yeah, because I just feel like trauma is passed down because it's like my mom passing away. She died before I couldn't even, I don't have no memories or recollection. So it's like that shouldn't have affected me because I never got a chance to get to know her or have that relationship with her. But it did actually, in fact, affect me because now, as I get older and I have a kid, I gotta explain to my daughter why she don't have a grandma,
Right.
and now that makes her sad. And I'm passing down this generational trauma because now she see me sad around Mother's Day and my mom's birthday and holidays. It makes her sad. And then she also go through her little moments where she feels sad because she never had that. She never got that chance to really get to know a grandmother because her
Right.
dad's mom wasn't. And then all she had was my dad. So my dad was like her grandpa and her dad at the same time. So my daughter took that hard when my dad died. And it's like, it's hard trying to be there for somebody when you going through yourself. You feel me? It's like you want to kind of be selfish, like I'm going through. I ain't got it in me to be there for you because who the is there for me? But it's just like it's my kid, but it's just like my daughter. She feel how she feel, but she has no idea how I feel. See, she has me. She has a
Right.
mom, and I'm saying I lost my mom at a young age. My grandparents, like I really didn't have that structural background as far as that it takes a village kind of support from
Right.
family.
And for the record, I'm taking it hard right now. I'm sad to hear that your dad passed away. My deepest condolences. Sorry about that, man.
Listen, if I can get into it, listen, 2016 had to be by far like the worst year. In January, my dad told me 2 weeks after New Year's. He didn't want to tell me before that because he didn't want to ruin my holiday. He told me he was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer and he had about 8 to 12 months to live. So then in June, my brother got shot, and then in August, my sister, we found out she was diagnosed with 3rd stage ovarian cancer. And then in September 16th, my uncle that raised me, he died. And then 2 weeks later, my sister and brother dad died that Monday, and then my dad died that Saturday. So I lost 2 dads and an uncle, and then of course the 2 weeks. And then my mom's oldest sister died the next year. My uncle's brother, my uncle Jimmy, his brother died that following year after my aunt, and then my sister died. So
Sheesh.
it's just been, I'm still dealing with depression now. You know what I mean? So
You have
it's
you
been a
have
lot.
been through it. How
It's
do you
been a lot.
deal with it? How do you
I
deal with
smoke
it?
weed.
I hear
It
that.
helps with the depression, and it's just like, and it's
Does it
crazy
really help?
because
Like honestly, does it really
it
help?
does. It does because it's just like prior to me smoking, I was just really depressed because I couldn't
Okay.
understand how everything was happening, the way it was happening with my dad, my sister, and I'm just like, it was overwhelming, and I still had to get up, keep it moving, go to work because I didn't have that support system for nobody to say, take as much time as you need. I got you. So I
Right.
had to still go to work. You know what I mean? You only get like 3 days bereavement. It was hard. I would be at work crying and, you know, and then the pandemic happened. And that's when my sister, she died during the pandemic. And then, they was keeping everybody from their loved ones. Everybody had to be secluded. So I'm in here by myself. My daughter had moved away. So I just was dealing with and still dealing with it. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like,
Right.
it just be a lot to deal with because I go through times where I miss my dad. Like May 5th was my sister's death date. May 8th was my grandma's birthday. Then we had Mother's Day. Then my uncle that raised me, his birthday was May 14th. Then my sister's birthday was May 19th. And then my mom's birthday was May 28th. And then my dad's birthday was June 8th. I couldn't catch a break.
Wow. Wow. I'm gonna say this. You are a really strong person. And not to take away from anybody else, but I've had people tell me, Khalid, I'm 40 years old and I'm still dealing with my childhood. I don't want to do an interview because there's like big portions of my childhood
Pandora's box.
that I'm still dealing with to this day. So yeah, I can't do it. I'm not emotionally fit and able to do an interview. So with all the things that you've been through, wow. Like
You know
wow.
what? Let me tell you, and that ain't even, I think out of all the things I've been through, the most shocking and traumatic had to be the guy that killed my mom was in my backyard cutting my grass.
What?
Yeah, and in 2007.
Oh wow. Let's flip it if we can. Is there anything from your childhood that makes you smile at all? Like in the whole 18, first of all, did we establish like so 18 was the end of your childhood? We did establish that. Is there anything, was it Tiffany? Like anything for your childhood? Do you have a favorite moment or a favorite
Um,
day
I
or a
can
favorite?
say that I do like the fact that after my mom passed, that me, my sister, and brother still remain close because we was on the verge of being separated. I was with my
Right.
dad, my grandmom had my brother and my sister. Like we was, my aunt and uncle stepped in. We'll take them
Okay.
because my grandmom didn't want us to be separated. So I do, like the fact that my older sister,
Right.
she was when I was younger, she was like my protector. My brother used to bully me, and he was a boy. He would do boy things, big brother things, and my sister always, felt like she had to protect me. So that's why I took it so hard when she passed away, because my sister was still kind of young,
Okay.
and
Right.
it just was a lot to deal with because so much other stuff going on at the time.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. So given all that, the final question is, what is your overall perception of how your childhood affected your life? So who did Daysha become? Who is the woman you are today? And like, what do you do? Like, what became of you? Did all these like traumatic events and all these instances like mold you into a strong woman? You obviously never quit, right?
Yeah, but you know
There's a
what?
lot of people who went through stuff and quit. Like, who are you today? Who like do you feel like your childhood molded you into the person you are today?
Well, me personally, a lot of people think that I'm strong because of the things that I've been through and how, I seem to have overcame them, and I didn't turn to drugs and alcohol, and even with weed, it's medicinal, it's legal. So it's like, because people will always, I don't know how you do it, I don't know how, and it's like I'm strong by force, not by choice. Sometimes I want to just lay my head on somebody's lap and just cry. You know what I mean? Want to be nurtured. You know what I mean? And because I deal with a lot, and I'm dealing with it by myself, so it's just like it just be a hard pill to swallow sometimes, and it's just like I have to kind of go with the punches and deal with whatever comes my way because I don't have that outlet and that support for nobody to help me get through it. So me being strong, there's nothing I chose. It chose me.
It's not a badge of honor. You're saying this you were forced into this,
Yeah, because again, I'm the baby, and
right?
I always say how she feels like when my mom passed away, I took on the role of my mom as far as taking care of my older sister and brother, and that wasn't right because they should have
Got
been
it.
looking out for me. You know what I mean?
Got it.
Their
Got it.
dad, they didn't go through what I went through with my dad. Their dad told you wasn't like my dad. So my sister and brother didn't have to endure and experience half of the shit I endured and experienced dealing with my dad. And when they moved out, my brother got locked up, my sister moved out. It was just me there to deal with the
Right. And in this hour, this small hour that we've been talking, we only really touched the tip of the iceberg.
right.
Right? So but even the things that we talked about, this makes you stop and think like, yo, this is deep. She went through some stuff. She went through some stuff. And sorry that you had to go through a lot of the things you had to go through, the traumatic events, the losing people who were important to you. Um, sheesh. So
Right.
so
Like I don't have no grandparent, no mom, no dad. I lost a sibling. Only my brother is still here, and my siblings in Colorado. I only keep in contact with my brother that's down there. I don't talk to my two sisters, so it's just like I don't really have anybody.
but here's the thing. You still here, you still trucking. That's the most important thing. You never really quit. And that's ultimate. That's commendable. Because some people give up. People commit suicide all day, every day. You
Listen,
know,
listen, no judging, but I can relate because I've definitely crossed my mind and I contemplated it, especially when I was a kid, just getting beaten all the time, always being on punishment. I hated my life. I
right?
did. I contemplated it a few times and I never carried it out. Even as an adult, me going through the things that I go through was just like, why am I here? You know what I'm saying? But then it's just like, I told my daughter like I would never want her to go through and feel how I feel of not having a mom. At least she got that experience with me. We got pictures, we got videos, I have 4 pictures of my mom.
I
4.
was going to ask you that. Is there a photo that exists of you and her?
Yeah, actually, hold up. It's right here on the dining room table. Hold up. That's I don't know if it's a glare, but that's me and my mom right here.
Oh, your
And
mom
it's
was
crazy because I'm the
pretty.
only one that my mom took pictures with. And then,
Your mom
um,
is very pretty.
thank you. She was pregnant with me here, her and my dad.
Okay.
Um, my grandmom. This is my grandmom had 4 daughters, which my aunt Gina is not in this picture, but this is my mom right here. My
Okay.
grandmom, my aunt Kat, and my aunt Joyce. This is my aunt that raised me.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
my mom's oldest sister. She passed away a year. She passed away after the next year. So it's this aunt and my other aunt that's left.
So here we go. Give some advice to blank-year-old you. So, if you could talk to a younger Daysha right now or 5 minutes from now, you had a chance to talk to a younger you, any age, how old would she be and what would you say to her? Given everything that you've experienced, everything you know now, what advice would you give to a younger version of you?
Um, I would have been told myself to run away. Okay. I probably would be telling 11, 12-year-old me, run away, run away. I did eventually run away, but I was like 15, but I would have been did it.
Okay. And going where? Where would you have gone?
I don't give a I would have took my chances anywhere except for where I was.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this is my whole thing. I just kind of feel like me and my brother both feel like anywhere else would have been better than where we were.
Okay.
My sister, she wasn't experiencing what we was experiencing because my sister wasn't bad. Not saying we
Got
were bad, but my sister didn't really get in trouble like that. But see, my sister was being raped by my uncle's oldest son. So my sister was dealing with her own.
right.
So
Right. Which
it
might
just
have
was a
been
lot.
worse than
Like,
what y'all was going through.
exactly. And that's why I feel like, towards the end when my sister got sick, she wasn't she was fighting for us. But my sister felt like she really ain't have nothing to live for. She told me, she oftentimes wanted to commit suicide because she was sick, but she said that she wouldn't for 2 reasons. And I'm like, why? And she like, for my grandkids and because of you. I said, why? Because of me. And she like, because you saved my life. Because once I found out she was sick, I swooped in. And I didn't really save it. I just kind of preserved it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, she's not here. So,
Daysha, we appreciate you so much. You dropped some bombs on us today, and we really appreciate you and thank you for coming through.
no problem. My life.